Thank you, sir. Ooh. Before I get started, do we have any members of the law enforcement community with us this evening? Show of hands. Okay, great. Who's seen the show Cops? Back when the show came out in the late 80s, it was a huge hit. And it cost almost nothing to make. So all the networks wanted a show like Cops. I was working as a documentary sound guy, so I got a phone call from a couple guys in New York who had gotten permission from the Delaware State Police to film ride-alongs and make a copycat show. So I found myself down in mid-state Delaware at a state police barracks, and I met the director and the producer and the cameraman. The cameraman and I jump in the back of this state police cruiser and we head off. We spend the first couple of hours giving traffic tickets to people who were shocked that turn signals weren't optional. About 10:30 that night, we get a call that a lover's quarrel had turned violent in a trailer park. And if you've ever seen the show Cops, you know they love trailer parks because that's where all the action happens. Unfortunately for us, by the time we got there, they had kissed and made up, and there was nothing for us to shoot. Around midnight, we start cruising by bars and roadhouses looking for drunk drivers. And about 2 in the morning, we start following a guy. I don't know if he was drunk or if it was just 2 in the morning, but he was weaving a little bit, so the trooper decides to pull him over. Now, we are way the hell out in the middle of nowhere, Delaware, on a farm road, miles from anything. Trooper pulls him over the shoulder, and our standard operating procedure was we would hop out of the car, go out about 10, 15 yards, and shoot the wide shot of the 2 cars by the side of the road with the trooper walking up to the window. And that's what we did. All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, another car comes along, bam, runs into the back of the state police cruiser, knocks it off the road, and nose down into a drainage ditch by the side of the road. Now it's a party. The guy gets out of the car. He's drunk off his ass. He's got a big gash in his forehead. Blood's running down his face, but he's pissed at the state trooper for blocking the road and damaging his car. Trooper goes back, tries to calm the guy down, get him to sit down because he's injured. Meanwhile, the guy in the first car starts going, hey, I got nothing to do with this. I got nothing to do with this. Okay, can I go? Can I go? Can I go? Can I go? Trooper goes up and talks to him and says, listen, man, I want you to stay in the vehicle until I let you go. Meanwhile, the drunk is back up. He's walking around. The street trooper comes back, gets him calmed down, gets him by the side of the road. The guy in the first car has started his engine. Trooper walks up to the first car, says, you will take the keys out of the ignition, put them on your dash, and stay there until I let you go. Do you understand? The drunk is back up. He's walking around bleeding all over the road. Here's the thing. We are in 1989, I want to say. None of us have cell phones. Our only form of communication is the radio that is in the state patrol cruiser, which is nose down, precariously perched in the side of the ditch. Trooper turns to us and says, you two, I want you to go up to that farmhouse and call for backup. Get us an ambulance. Well, I got to tell you, my inner 8-year-old, big fan of Adam 12 and Emergency and Dragnet, was psyched. I get to call for backup. But the cameraman I'm with goes, no, man, we got to stay here and shoot you. To his credit, the state trooper did not respond. He simply stood there and unsnapped the strap for his sidearm. Fast forward 15 minutes, the cameraman and I are humping across this recently fertilized farmer's field toward a light bulb in the distance that we are hoping is a farm. So we get out about 100 yards out, and I see it's a stone farmhouse, and I start thinking, it's 2 in the morning. We're knocking on the door of a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere in a country that has more guns than people. So as we get closer, I start going, hey, in the house! Hey, in the house! Cameraman goes, shh, people are sleeping. I'm like, I understand that. I'm trying to make sure we don't get our asses full of buckshot from some drowsy son of a bitch. We get up closer, window goes up. Guy goes, what the hell do you want? I said, hey, there's an accident out by the road. Can you call for an ambulance? He goes, yeah, come around back. We go around the back of the farmhouse, light goes on, door goes open. Standing there in the doorway is Bigfoot. Well, it might have been Bigfoot, but I couldn't tell for sure because he was pointing a shotgun at me, and I couldn't see past the shotgun. That's the point at which he sees the camera and the microphone. He goes, "Hey, you guys from the TV?" I said, "Yes, we're from the TV." He goes, "That's really the secret of cops. See, everybody wants to be on the TV. So if you went out one night, got drunk, took off all your clothes, wet yourself, started smashing windshields, and the cops caught you breaking into a payphone, would you want your neighbors to know? Jim?" But everybody wants to be on the TV, so everybody signs the release form. So I'm standing in this back room, and I'm looking over on one side of the room, and on one, there's a table, and it's got an electronic scale and some plastic bags and some little glass vials. And on the other side of the room is this bunch of trash, and among the trash are packets, empty packets of cold medicine. You know, the kind you have to show 2 forms of ID to get at the drugstore now? Yeah. Is anybody else here unclear about the whole crystal meth thing? So I put 2 and 2 together and get the hell out of here. So we're waiting, and the guy comes down, "Hey, I called, there's an ambulance on the way." I said, "Thank you very much," and head off. Now, there's about 7 more minutes to this story. But I'm under tremendous pressure to end it here. So if you'd like to hear the end of the story, I invite you out to the after party, buy me a beer, and I'll tell you the rest of the story. Thank you very much. Oh, man.